Hey guys, it's Greg. Going to be doing a comic book review today. This one is KA-ZAR the Savage, issue 22 from Marvel Comics. Uh, this book originally came out in 1983. I love back issues. I think everybody, especially now during the pandemic, if you really want to help out your local comic shop, um, find back issues you like. Go buy a ton of back issues. I just ordered $100 worth of Sergeant Rock comics from my old local comic shop back home in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I suggest you do the same. Okay, so KA-ZAR number 22. First thing we're going to notice that's kind of interesting about this comic is the price point. It's pretty pricey. Um, you know, we're looking at a comic that came out in 1983, January. It says 82 because that's when it was shipped, but it's for the January 83 issue. But look at that, 75 cents in 1983 was a big deal. And we can kind of tell why, because I think this was a special issue. It actually had, nice, right? Very cool comic. Very cool. Okay, let's get on with the review. First of all, disclaimer: I love KA-ZAR, I love Shanna, I love Zabu. Definitely one of my favorite characters in Marvel Comics is KA-ZAR. I love the Savage Land. And in issue 21, he died. So yeah, just a heads up. We start the issue, and of course we have one of these like funny little editorials that used to happen. They don't do these anymore, and they're wondering why his work isn't turned in, and he says his cat ate it, and oh, it's because it's Zabu, and oh boy, very good stuff. Really fun. They used to interact really well with the reader. So it starts with they're making Kevin Plunder, aka KA-ZAR's headstone. And actually, Peter Parker is with Shauna. And let's give credit where credit is due here. Bruce Jones is the writer. Ron Friends, Mel Candido did the art. Don Warfield colors. Janice Shang letters. Probably Bruce Jones. Editor, and Jim Shooter. This is the time of Jim Shooter. So anyway, KA-ZAR is dead. Up to this point, KA-ZAR, Shauna, and Zabu had come to New York City for some reason. And they got, KA-ZAR got a head injury and wandered around New York City, got mugged. And because I think Kraven the Hunter got broken out of jail to get him. And that's what, brought in Peter Parker, Spider-Man. And, it starts with Shauna, and she's just devastated. And so her and Peter, great crowd shot here, are on the train, and Peter says to her, you're just in no condition to go home. You should come to my place and get some coffee or something. She's like, whatever. So it's funny, Peter's being a nice guy because, it's Peter, he's a nice guy. And she's like, hey man, I know you would just you got me here because you wanna hit on me kind of thing. Remember, KA-ZAR's been dead for like 10 minutes. And then, yeah, it's the 80s. There was romance, actual relationships. And Peter says, you know what, I can't do this. My love life's screwed up anyway, and even though you're very attractive and I want to get with you, I can't right now. And so she kind of breaks down, and after being mummed by Peter with the cold cloth on the head and stuff, Peter gets a call, and it turns out Zabu was taken to a zoo, and then they had to kill her because she was so crazy. So this sets Shanna off, and she runs outside and assaults a cab driver, and then takes off in the cab. And now here's something very interesting about the craftsmanship of this, okay? First of all, we're going to notice it's actually a car chase. You don't see this very much anymore, for good reason. First of all, as much as this is, cool for the time, really, if you just isolate a panel, the car, I don't know, it's just very static. It's not dynamic. Nothing's happening really. And even though they're trying for something here, um, it never really it's hard to convey speed in a comic book, right? So she goes and she confronts the doctor, who apparently restrained Zabu, and she wasn't too happy with his answers. So the cops come after she releases all the animals, and this is a very cool panel. It's one panel with a flurry of action, and the dialogue are used as effects, and you kind of see the story, right? So she's behind you, look out, grab her legs, get out of the way, get her, you get her, use your club. So now we know she's getting hit, right? You see, whack, good, we got her. And then she's locked up. But who comes to save her? It's none other than Spider-Man. Another cool point. This was a connected Marvel Universe. At no point in this great wraparound cover do we see a reference to Spider-Man. I think probably nowadays they would have a, guest starring Spider-Man, or, something mentioning Spider-Man, but there's no need because, back at this point in Marvel Comics, everything was really interconnected, and it led up into the greatest thing, which was Secret Wars, in my opinion. A lot of people have a lot of opinions of Secret Wars. It was a commercial, it was this, it was that. Hey man, it had a lot of heroes and villains from a lot of different storylines. They referenced a lot of things that happened in the past. Anyway, so Spider-Man drops her off, says he's sorry about KA-ZAR dying. Peter should be there any moment. By the time Peter gets there, Shauna's gone, okay? So Shauna, she's just drawn so well too. Goes to find, basically there was this couple that was involved with, the death of Kevin Plunder, KA-ZAR, and, all the trouble that happened to them kind of thing. And she goes to confront them and ends up fighting with the lady. And this lady also was the one who hired Kraven the Hunter, the previous issue. Confronts her. Turns out that's just a wig. Well, who's that? And here's the other guy and the couple of them. He says, I was wrong. We're going to be too much trouble. And we end the issue with a dead Shauna. But it's to be continued. Isn't that interesting? Previous issue, KA-ZAR died. This issue, Zabu and Shauna die. What a great story, What a interesting way of ending that, If you were, I gotta watch the right? If you were a fan or a kid or following this book, that would be a great way. So then we have the letters page, lots of letters printed, most of them being critical, to be honest. Subscriptions page, and then we have a backup feature about Zabu. And so one of the cool things about KA-ZAR is, much like Tarzan, who was raised by the apes, KA-ZAR is this similar kind of riff, but he was actually raised by a saber-toothed tiger named Zabu. Okay, so that's why he's so strong. And anyway, they're chased by a pterodactyl. And another cliffhanger to the backup story. We have an ad for New Mutants, and then another interaction with the readers, and this time it's by Louise Jones, and she's basically telling them things are going to pick up. You give an idea of what is going to happen in the future with the series, and is interacting with the audience. And I love, there's always a joke about Jim Shooter, right? Because Jim Shooter demanded it. So, to end it, we have another little gag strip at the back. And this time it's Zabu calling Louise, and she's mad at her. She calls her a boorish biped. And, you know, but then calls back to apologize because, you know, here's the joke. That's Zabo. He tries to act tough, but he's a real pussycat. Okay. Sabertooth killed in attack incident. KA-ZAR the Savage is dead. My review of the book is it's great, and I would, you know, this run of KA-ZAR was fantastic. Great artwork, great writing, really fun. And just from, if we want to talk about, you know, making comics and how this applies to script writing, first of all, a lot happens. They bury KA-ZAR. They travel. They have a romantic little entanglement. We see Peter. We see the character development of Shauna. You know, then we have a car chase, and then we have a confrontation at a zoo, and then we're releasing animals. We're fighting police. We're put in the loony bin. We're rescued by Spider-Man, and then we're confronting the people, you know, our adversaries, and it ends on a big cliffhanger. Then we get another backup story of the Savage Land. A lot happens. There's no decompression. It's full speed ahead, and this is issue 22. You know, I mean, it's just these older comics. The reason why they're so good is you get your money's worth. It's 75 cents. You'll probably pick this book up as a back issue for $1 something, maybe $2. You know, is that worth it? Heck yes. Also, you know, to note is the panel composition. So we have, you know, start with 4 panels. We go to the spread, you know, set everything up, and then we go 7 panels. 4 panels again. 6 panels. You know, there isn't this 5 panel, you know, pacing, right? And notice how the panels are changing. It's not the 5 panel box we're used to in modern comics to set everything up, you know, to set the pace so that you can do your 22, 24 pages so that you can have that 6-issue trade paperback and have it all timed out. No. You know, they are using panels to show emotion. They are using panels to speed up and slow down the story as is appropriate. You put more panels in, right, to slow down something, which is kind of why I think this falls flat, right? So yeah, I like seeing the panel composition in these older books, and it's actually one thing that I try to do in my books, is not to fall into that trap of 5 panels per page. Yeah, and I suggest if you're thinking about a comic book, do it too. Experiment, you know? See what you can do. I mean, look at the progression of emotion you can use in 6 panels. It is out there to do. You can make comics differently. If you're somebody who likes to do that speed of you know, 5 panels a page, by all means, go for it. It's great. I mean, it's not like I'm not using it. But I will slow things down to show more emotion or to give more information, and I will speed things up with less panels during some action. Anyway, that's my review. KA-ZAR the Savage, issue 22 from Marvel Comics. Great issue. I suggest get into KA-ZAR and let me know what you think. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys again next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.